The shortage crisis, which again has resulted in pretty much should we say, an employment crisis in not only the logistics sector, the agricultural sector, pork manufacturing, well, butchering, shall we say, sector, hospitality, just some of the few places. Indeed, today we've got news that Greggs is facing shortages. So, you know what they say, you don't get in between a northerner, between his pint and a steak bake from Greggs. So, with all these shortages continuously going, we have seen idiots, shall we say, that's the best way to describe them, come out of the woodwork. We discussed this on Wednesday about the Guido Fawkes blog from Paul Steins and his lot over there, basically saying that the simple solution to this is just hire more British people. And the government is now saying the same thing, blaming the British public for voting to end freedom of movement and essentially saying, well, just hire more British people. But again, it's, as we've said before, this situation is not that simple as just hiring more British people. There is a lot more complex than they actually make it out to be. Once again, it's that, as we saw during the whole Brexit referendum, take a really complex problem and just say a simple slogan like, oh, hire more British people. Again, it's not that simple. There's travel involved. There's, again, work that people just might not want to do. There's all sorts going on, but mainly, of course, is travel. Like I say, getting to these farm locations is quite difficult. And again, being a HGV driver can pretty much be from Monday to Friday, you do not go home. You literally drive a lorry non-stop for almost a week. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. It's just face the reality. And some people, you unless they start to get to the situation of we're going to force people to do this, and then it's like, well, at that point, why not just elect people from the EU come and fill these jobs? They're there. Why not do it? But of course, a lot of people do not want to admit that the UK pretty much did function on a lot of migrant labor. And of course, just as we see in Japan, we have a very, very aging population. There is a big care crisis at the moment where, again, lots of people in the care industry came from the EU. They are going to be crying about in a few weeks about their potential recruitment crisis. There aren't enough people to look after all the old people in this country. Like I say, we are leaning from one disaster to another, and the government is doing nothing to solve these problems, so they're only going to get worse. But today we go to the Yorkshire Post. So before we dive into the old Post, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, and of course there's a Buy Me Coffee link where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So on in today's article from the old Yorkshire Post. Title: Brexit to blame as lorry driver shortages hit over 100,000, says Yorkshire logistics boss. The road haulage bosses have said that there is a shortfall of around 100,000 drivers, partly caused by the exit from the UK during the pandemic, and of course the thousands of EU drivers who have still not yet returned, and they're very unlikely to return given the government's very, very strict rules on that. Peter Brown, the chief executive of the whole firm Neil Brown Global Logistics, has said this was up on a shortfall of around 40,000 drivers that existed before Brexit. He said that other industries were experiencing similar problems as EU workers left the UK. We've got a shortage of people in nursing homes, cleaners in hospitals. These are all the jobs that the European people did because people didn't want to take those jobs. And that is why there is produce rotting in the fields. He and his company, which employs around 50 drivers, split roughly evenly between people from the UK and Europe, has found filling these vacancies to be a challenge. We're struggling to fill the vacancies. Everyone is. Drivers want more money and better terms, which you can understand, he said. And I'd actually be very interested to find out whether or not he is losing drivers to other companies offering better terms, because obviously this is going to be a problem. If you've got already qualified HGV drivers and Tesco are offering, better wages and better terms, are they just going to go to Tesco's or what? And even if the logistics company does give them those better wages and terms, that cost will be passed on eventually to the end producer. It's as simple as that. So it's so funny when you see people like in the, as we covered in like the Guido Fawkes saying, they've just got to, pay their workers more. But then that will lead to a knock-on effect in the economy of products becoming more expensive. That will have a knock-on effect. And especially when we see a lot of people who are already in poverty. Again, these people, apparently, as we're told, care about the working class in this country. Anyway, it continues. Last month, the government announced plans to try and streamline the process for drivers to gain HGV licenses, but Mr. Brown said that attracting people to the roles is not easy. Drivers are a special breed of people, and people nowadays do not want to spend a week in a HGV and go here, there, and everywhere. People want a work-life balance. The average age of your drivers is between about 55 to 58. You get very few coming into the industry. He said that while the current problems were not solely down to Brexit, it has had a very detrimental impact. I can see where we have had any benefits up until now. We've had to try and take on at least 15 people just to try and do customs clearances for the goods that we carry. We've been in the business for over 100 years, and I've been involved for around 50. In the first 3 months of this year, they were the worst time I've ever had in the company. And now we have a driver shortage. I don't know what the solution is. They say they are trying to hire more people to be HGV drivers, but how long is that actually going to take? It comes after the chairman of the Tesco warned UK supermarkets could even see food shortages at Christmas due to Brexit-related supply chain disruptions. The chairman of Tesco's has warned. And again, big advocate for Brexit there. John Allen, who has overseen the country's largest grocer since 2015, said the government should change the rules for lorry drivers to allow more emergency workers from overseas to help solve this problem. Again, a big cheerleader for Brexit there. Retailers and restaurant chains, including Nando's and McDonald's, have been hit hard by product shortages of meat packers, and other manufacturers have also faced significant worker shortages. Mr. Allen told the BBC Radio 4's Today World at 1 that supermarkets would normally be building stock now ahead of the Christmas, and this, quote, straightforward solution to driver shortages would be to allow the UK industry to bring in more skilled drivers from elsewhere. He added that we are very short on drivers. It's a combination of many EU drivers having decided to go home and also their aging age profiles. I think it's a certainty that Brexit has been a contributor to that, but it also improving economies, higher wages in some of these countries that they've come from historically have also led to that flow. He said that there could be some shortages as a result, but stressed it is important not to over-dramatize the extent of this issue yet. He said, at the moment, we're running very hard just to keep on top of the existing demand. There isn't capacity to build stocks that we'd like to see. So in that sense, I think there are going to be some shortages at Christmas. But then again, I don't want to over-dramatize the effects to which this could be the case. I think it's very easy to make drama out of a modest crisis. The Iceland managing director, Richard Walker, also warned that the UK faces big shortages, especially of lorry drivers and situations threatening Christmas produce. Of course, we've all got Christmas around the corner, and the retailers, we want to start stock building ready from September onwards for what is a hugely important time of year, he said. And remember, October come the first lot of checks on the UK side of the border. That is going to cause even more disruption. And who knows how much chaos that's going to cause. We've got a lot of goods to try and transport between now and Christmas, and a strong supply chain to try and follow that is vital for everyone. The reason for sounding the alarm now is because we've already had one Christmas cancelled at the last minute. I'd hate all this to be pretty problematic as well. Mr. Walker claims that the chain has seen daily deliveries cancellations as the disruption continues. We've had deliveries cancelled for the first time since the pandemic began, and about 30 to 40 deliveries a day, he said. The retailer said that he has seen very particular lines such as bread, soft drinks impacted by the issues facing suppliers. Stephen Mills, the chief executive of the Co-op Group, also warned of the current food shortages are at their worst level that he has ever seen, with the company having to reduce product ranges to try and help serve customers. He told the Times newspaper, "The shortages are at the worst level that I have ever seen." Mr. Murray has also said the description of the supply has been driven by Brexit and issues caused by COVID. The firm is trying to retrain staff as lorry drivers to help fill vacant roles. The road haulage bosses also said that there was a shortfall of around 100,000 drivers, partly due to the exit from the UK. Leaving the pandemic, thousands of EU drivers have not yet returned. The industry groups have also said that training for new drivers is now taking months, and trying to make the shortfall of the numbers is trying to difficult to resolve quickly. Labour shortages, which have also affected the meat packing and fruit packing jobs, have also caused shops and fast food restaurants to struggle for stock. Subways and McDonald's are now some of the latest victims of these shortages. The shop chain Subway said it has seen some major supply chain shortages, but stressed that it's ensured the disruption to customers is at minimum. Meanwhile, McDonald's ran out of milkshakes is in most of the UK restaurants due to the ongoing supply problems. The burger chain has also been left without bottled drinks across over 1,000 of its outlets in England, Scotland, and Wales, as shortage of lorry drivers starts to take its toll. Spokesperson for the group said, "Trying to work hard to return these items to the menu as fast as we can." This also comes a week after the restaurant Nando's closed almost 50 restaurants because of the reduced chicken supplies. And like I say, come October, when we've got those first lot of checks, what's going to happen then? You know, there was an article this week about Brexit is obviously failing, but it's not as big a disaster as like people as Remainers wanted it to be. I've always maintained Brexit was going to be a very slow car crash, and it was just going to pile up very nicely. And that is exactly what we're seeing happening. Exactly what my predictions coming exactly right. It's going to be a slow car crash. And like I say, checks come in October, January, and March. I highly suspect that in September, we might see those first lot of checks get kicked back again, because they've already been kicked back once. So it's highly possible they could get kicked back again. So with that said, thank you for watching. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching.